Dustin Saldarriaga with Scott Legal PC in New York City, and today I'll be sharing with you how to apply for a TN visa as a management consultant. Now, this is one of the few TN job categories that does not require you to have a degree. You can apply for it based on professional experience alone. But on the other hand, the management consultant category is one of the most difficult job categories to receive a TN visa for. In this video, I'll break down how you might approach a TN management consultant application, along with a few tips to improve your chances of being approved. In an earlier video, we looked at how the TN visa, which is one of the most popular visa options for Canadians and Mexicans, requires different educational or professional qualifications for different professions. The management consultant job category is special in that it offers three options for the applicant to qualify. First, the applicant can have a baccalaureate degree, or they can have 5 years of experience as a management consultant, or finally, an applicant can qualify by having 5 years of experience in a field of specialty related to the consulting agreement. Since the management consulting category is one of the few options for those who don't have a degree, government officials closely scrutinize TN management consultant applications. Some scenarios, though, are more likely to be approved than others. The simplest and most straightforward scenario is if you're applying for a TN visa in order to work at a management consulting firm in the US. For example, if you're a consultant at Boston Consulting Group in Canada and you receive an offer to work at Bain in New York, this type of application is fairly straightforward and not especially risky. However, the process gets much trickier if you're applying for a TN visa to provide consulting services to a company that's not a consulting firm. For example, if you're an expert in solar energy who wants to come to the US to advise a solar panel company on how to improve its products and services. To understand how to navigate this kind of a scenario, let's take a look at the government's policy, and then we'll discuss a few tips for how to navigate it. In 1990, the government issued a memo that restricted the management consultant TN category. The government's concern was that people were coming to the US with the title of management consultant, but were instead filling permanent positions at companies that had little to do with consulting. The memo instructed officers to make sure that those applying for a TN visa as a management consultant would not be filling permanent positions or replacing someone in an existing position. Instead, the memo said, an applicant should be coming to the US as an outside consultant to the business in order to help it address a specific problem or need. The government calls this a supernumerary position. The exception to this rule is if the applicant is actually coming to the US to work at a management consulting firm. This is the example I gave before. And in those cases, it is acceptable for them to temporarily fill a permanent position. So if you're applying for a TN visa as a management consultant but will not be working for a management consulting firm, how can you improve your chances of being approved? First, I find it helpful for the company to specifically define what problem or issue the consultant will help it address. Answering this question helps to focus the rest of the application. It helps to highlight how the consultant is qualified to address the problem and what specific services the consultant will provide in order to address it. Second, it's important to explain how the consultant will address the company's problem or issue while keeping in mind how the government defines a management consultant's job duties. The government has posted what it considers to be typical job duties in the Department of Labor's Occupational Outlook Handbook. The government has posted what it considers to be typical job duties in the Department of Labor's Occupational Outlook Handbook. We'll include a link below. For example, in the Occupational Outlook Handbook, the government says that management consultants, among other things, gather information about the problem to be solved, develop solutions or alternative practices, make recommendations to management, and confer with managers to make sure their recommendations are working. The more your job duties on the TN visa are aligned with those listed in the Occupational Outlook Handbook, the more likely a government officer will understand why the management consulting category is an appropriate fit for you. Third, it's important that you make sure you satisfy the professional or educational requirement. Unfortunately, there's really no way around this. As mentioned earlier in the video, you must have either a baccalaureate degree in a field that's closely related to management consulting, or 5 years of experience as a management consultant, or 5 years of experience in a field of specialty that's related to the consulting agreement. To continue with our earlier example, if you're looking to come to the US on a TN visa in order to advise a solar company on its products and services, you could qualify by showing that you've been working in the solar energy field for at least 5 years. If you're qualifying based on experience in a field of specialty, it's important that you clearly document the experience with detailed letters from former employers or clients. Finally, make it clear to the government that your role is truly that of an outside consultant who will be targeting a specific problem or issue at the company. This helps to avoid the risk that your role will be seen as filling a permanent position at the company. Specific ways to do this can include having a consulting agreement that's signed by you and the company that specifically defines what services you'll provide and the terms of the arrangement. The consulting agreement should clearly show your expertise in the specific field of specialty and should explicitly outline the scope and the timeline of the project in order to demonstrate that it's a temporary consulting role. Also, since an annual salary could suggest full-time employment, you might opt for an hourly rate with an expected number of hours. Though it is one of the more complex TN visa applications, receiving a TN visa as a management consultant can be a great way to live and work in the US, particularly for those who do not hold a college degree. We hope this video was helpful, and if it was, please go ahead and click the like and subscribe buttons below to stay updated on future videos about visa options and travel to the US. Thanks for watching.